Hey guys, LQ here with the LQ review, and this is my Captain Marvel review. Yes, I was able to see Captain Marvel, and I love it when a new Marvel movie comes out, right? Isn't that just a great day when you get to go see a new MCU movie? The whole day is like a holiday. The whole day is special. And it was a nice day yesterday. And I'm happy to report the movie was good. This movie is going to get a smiley face emoji. But like I always do in my reviews, I give you what I liked, I give you what I didn't like, and then I give you my rating, which is a smiley face emoji, a meh emoji, or a sad face emoji. I don't do rankings, I don't do ratings, I don't do anything like that. I just give you, did I like it, did I not like it, or was it okay? This is going to get I liked it. I liked it. But let's talk about the good. All right, first of all, I don't think I need to do a plot recap. We all know what the plot is, right? It's Captain Marvel, right? She is a Kree warrior, finds out she's human. She's on Earth, unraveling the mystery of her past with Nick Fury while trying to stop a Skrull invasion. We're going to try to keep the spoilers here to a minimum, but I got to tell you, good movie. All right, let's talk about the good. Nick Fury. What a good job they did de-aging this guy also, right? He looked great. You could hardly tell. There was a few moments you could tell that there was some de-aging, some digital de-aging going on, but great job. But Samuel L. Jackson owns his character, and he did a great job. And what I liked about it was we could tell it was Nick Fury, but it wasn't the Nick Fury from the Avenger movies. This was a different Nick Fury at a different place in his life, and he's still growing into the role that he's going to become. He's still growing into that Nick Fury that we know in the Avengers. But I was surprised at how big of a role he has in this movie. He's the co-lead. I mean, it's starring Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is the co-lead in this movie. He had a lot of screen time, a lot of stuff to do. This is the most Nick Fury's ever had to do, and I loved it. Great job. Nick Fury, when he was on screen, it was great. And Nick Fury was kind of the on-screen avatar for the audience. We were getting introduced to this world through Nick Fury's eyes. So it was really he was our doorway to this world. So it was great. Next, Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull leader. I'm not going to get into too many plot points with his character, but I like everything Ben Mendelsohn does. And again, great job here. He owned this character. He brought a lot of the particular kind of emotion that this character needed. Did a great job. Ben Mendelsohn was great. All right, we've all heard a lot about Goose the Cat, and Goose the Cat was good, right? Goose the Cat was fun. It got a little jokey at the end, and there might have been one or two minor cringe-worthy moments with Goose the Cat. For the most part, the cat was fantastic, though. Loved it, and it was a lot of fun. There's some spoilers associated with the cat, some pretty big spoilers and world connecting that's done with the cat, so I'm not going to get into that. But and speaking of world building moments, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this. You keep your eyes open. There's a lot of connections to the Avengers universe in this movie. And then there's also some fun Easter eggs for the 90s, right? Not just the blockbuster moments, but some other Easter eggs, some songs, some visual gags. So there's a lot of 80s, not 80s, 90s. There's a lot of 90s gags in there that I think that fans who grew up in the 90s, I think they'll appreciate. So Coulson didn't have a lot of screen time. And actually, Coulson, you could tell every moment that he was on screen that he was digitally de-aged. It was obvious. He looked like a video game. They knocked it out of the park with Samuel L. Jackson, but Coulson looked like a video game. But it was a pleasure having him on the screen. It was a pleasure having him there. He added to the movie. He had a couple good jokes, especially a funny one at the end. But Coulson added to this movie. Having him there was an addition, so it has to be a good. There was a nice scene where we saw him building his loyalty to Nick Fury. Coulson was great. There was also some great Kree world building in this. Going into this, I was like, the Kree as good guy warrior race. Well, Ronan was a Kree. What? How does this work? And it was really interesting the way they built it, and the way that they built the Star Force. Yes, there's a team of intergalactic cops in this movie called the Star Force. Yep. But it was also interesting to get into the Kree. I guess you could call it their religious philosophy, their religious deity. That was interesting. That was interesting to me. So the Kree world building was definitely a plus in this. The post credit scenes were great. One of them was the best post credit scene in that I've ever seen in the Marvel movies. This post credit scene led people to applause. Stick around for the post credit scenes. There's two of them, one in the mid credits and one at the very end, but they're great. Speaking of bringing the audience to applause, the opening banner where it says Marvel, I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a very pleasant surprise. But during the opening banner, when the characters are all flashing, and then you see the Marvel banner, and then 10 years, something happens during that. Everybody in my audience cried and cheered and clapped. I'm telling you, it was perfect. It was perfect. And they couldn't have done anything better. I'm not going to spoil it because I want it to be a surprise, but they could not have done anything better than what they did right there during the opening banner. Wait for it. Another good, Rambo's daughter. So, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers' best friend, last name Rambo. Don't remember her first name, but she had a daughter, and her daughter has a connection with Captain Marvel, and I thought that was an important piece of the movie because this movie is about. It's a girl power movie. Let's just be straight about it. It's a girl power movie, and that's great. That's great. I have a daughter. My daughter is going to be able to watch Captain Marvel and be like, I want to be like her. And that's fantastic. That's what superhero movies are for, right? That's what they're for. For little kids to watch them and be like, man, I want to be like that. I want to aspire. I want to aspire. And Captain Marvel had this relationship with this little girl, and this little girl idolized Captain Marvel. And that was like almost breaking the fourth wall. And showing us this is why we did Captain Marvel. This is why we made this strong female character and other female characters like Wonder Woman. This is why we do it. It was very nice to have that relationship with the little girl in the movie. There was girl power in this movie, and I thought it was great. Thought it was fantastic. There was a bad piece associated with that. I'm going to talk about it in the bad. But overall, the girl power was great. Don't be one of those wimpy guys who's like, oh, there was girl power, so they have an agenda that was girl power. We can't like that because they clearly have an agenda. It's important. It's important for little girls to have that representation, so that's okay. Be okay with your manhood, and be okay with the fact that little girls should be able to have that too, right? All right. So let's talk about some of the bad. There was bad stuff in this movie, stuff I didn't like. So let's talk about it. Brie Larson, you know what? And let's leave the whole stupid controversy behind. The controversy's stupid. Who cares? She didn't say what a lot of people says that she said. She didn't. Period. But I would have liked a different actress in this role. I would have. I think that she didn't. I just don't know if Brie Larson quite has the comedic chops to carry a character that's supposed to be as witty and as quippy as Captain Marvel. Maybe she'll grow into the role. Maybe she'll grow into the role. Chris Hemsworth grew into the Thor role. So maybe she'll grow into the role. That's possible. But in this movie, I didn't care for Brie Larson. But she is a great actress. Nobody can deny that she's a great actress. She's got the accolades that she has for a reason, because she's great. So it's very possible she'll grow into this. So I'm not writing her off. I'm just saying in this movie, didn't care for her performance. Speaking of the girl power, there were moments in the movie where it was a little thick, where it was a little alienating. And again, I am all about it. I'm all about the girl power. I've got a daughter. I love the fact that Wonder Woman's being made and Captain Marvel's being made and that they're celebrating this. But there were moments of the movie where it was a little thick and maybe a little alienating. Slight, incy wincy tiny bad, but there's a moment in the movie where they were playing "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt during a scene of where she was doing some beating up, and I don't know, it was a little thick. That's all. That's all I'll say. Another bad is Ronan. So Ronan was barely in this movie, but when he was, he didn't feel like the same character. And I understand that he goes from being a Kree to being a Kree fanatic and a Kree terrorist. I understand that there's an arc that we're not seeing, and we don't see that arc in this movie. Straight up, we don't see that arc. He's barely in it. So he goes from being a Kree to a Kree fanatic / terrorist. And I think they even said in this movie that he was a fanatic, but he goes from being a Kree to being a terrorist, and we don't see that. And I don't know, it just didn't feel quite like the same character. Sure, it looked like Ronan, it was played by the same actor, he had his big hammer, but it just didn't feel like Ronan. The first act was a bad. The first act, I got a little bored. I got a little bored in the first act. It was slow to get into the main narrative. They did a lot of Kree world building in the beginning, which I liked. I like the Kree world building stuff, but I think there was a better way to do it. There was a better way to introduce us to this world without, quite frankly, boring me. Some of the flashbacks in the beginning were awfully jarring. You didn't quite know what was happening. That whole first part of the first act I wasn't down with. I was worried for the movie at that point. I was like, this is going to be a bad movie. And thankfully it turned itself around once they got to Earth. But the first act I wasn't a fan of. And finally, the last bad thing is the stakes. I didn't feel like there were any stakes in this movie. You know, once she powered up, she was laughing through the whole thing, right? There was not a single enemy that could have stopped her. And she knew it, and she was just laughing and having a good time, and there were no stakes. Once she got powered up, all you had to do was sit back and watch it play out, because there's no threat anymore. So I just feel like I'm a little worried for Endgame. I'm a little worried that she's going to be the get out of jail free card that I talked about. I hope not. But in this movie, she was the get out of jail free card. Once she got powered up, it was over. So overall, yes, great movie. It's not one of my top MCU movies. Probably not even in my top 5, 6, 7, 8. It's probably not even up there. It's probably a middle-of-the-road MCU movie. I'm going to have to watch it a few more times. But it is a good movie. Get the smiley face emoji from me. Make sure you go see it, and you'll have a good time. I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review with my review of Captain Marvel. Thank you for being here, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that us geeks and nerds love to talk about. And until next time, thanks.